Good morning, and thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup. I'm Neeraj Shah. Let's take stock of the global news flow. While the US markets may have been weak, um, okay, yeah, maybe can we just show the US markets first? Excuse me for that, and then I'll come to this because there's a reason. Now, if you see the US markets, it'll look a wobble, and it was a wobble. 0.75% in the red for the Dow and the S&P, and the Nasdaq 0.61% down. But now let's bring up the global news flow plate, and that shows how the Nasdaq futures have actually rallied as Nvidia turned sentiment. Now, Nvidia, the chip maker, gave a blowout guidance for what could happen ahead, as a result of which that stock is up, I think, over 20% in post-market hours, and it's leading to the Nasdaq futures also doing well. So the sentiment has turned a little bit at that end. Now, that may have a bearing on what tech and thereby the other markets also do. So you got to keep that at the back of your mind. There is bad news as well, by the way. Fitch has warned that US AAA credit rating might actually come under a bit of an issue because of the debt impasse, and that is a big thing. So, will that have a bearing on US markets performance? Maybe. Now, keep in mind, it's all of this is brought to the global markets being mixed. Nikkei is up in the green. Australia is down, Kospi is down, HSI is down, Shanghai is down. So not that the other markets have all rallied because of the Nvidia sentiment, Nvidia numbers, but it's turned the sentiment at the margin. The SGX Nifty, okay, yeah, the other things. First, oil has held the gains as US crude inventories fell to the lowest since February. I think even in Colombia, a similar thing happened. And sugar prices fall as dry weather boosts Brazil supply output. Now, I've told you a lot of things. What does this mean for our markets at the open? Let's get the SGX Nifty up on the screen and try and, or at least give an indication of what the SGX Nifty is likely to do today. Maybe I'll try and pull it up myself, but suffice to say that it's a bit of a mixed bag, if you will, and as a result of which we're probably seeing a 0.25% kind of a downtick on the SGX Nifty at the start. So we'll probably have a flattish start to a marginally lower start. 0.23% is what the SGX Nifty website is currently telling me right now. Now, therefore, in light of that, what is the trade setup? Well, it's simple. Tech-led recovery not ruled out, and banks too. Private banks could also be in a fray today, and that's on account of HDFC Bank, to be honest. The analyst meet and the outcome from thereof. Nifty has support as per chartist at about 18,200 to 250 zone, with resistance at about 18,350 to 400 odd levels. So keep that in the back of your mind. Metal stocks are likely to stay muted on an underwhelming China recovery. Increasing data that comes out from China shows that the recovery, if anything, that happened in early part was not um, a capex or industry led, but more consumer demand led, and therefore the benefits for the metal stocks not quite there. Now, this is despite the fact that Nalco might have an outing which is decent today, but keep in mind broader metals may not. So now why Nalco? Well, look at the numbers. Let's get to the stocks to watch, right? So Nalco, the numbers, revenues down 15% at 3,670 crores, but better than the Bloomberg estimate. Similarly on EBITDA, 766 crores, the estimate for 440. Margins much better than what the Bloomberg estimates were. I mean, 14.1 was the estimate, 20.88 is what they've delivered. And net profit down 51%, but 495 versus estimates of 182. So per se, relative to estimates, they've done better. The notes are all saying, whatever little notes that I've read, one or two local brokerages are all saying that it's a quarter which is good, but they're not quite constructive. So that's the construct really. I mean, it may have done well and it may have a day's rally, maybe slightly more, but it's not a very constructive outlook for Nalco. So that's to be kept in mind. Nika, similarly, a flattish quarter relative to expectations. Revenues up 34%, 1301 by expectations were 1350. EBITDA 70 crores, estimate 70 crores. EBITDA margin 5.4, estimates was 5.2. Net profit is anybody's guess in these cases. So don't expect too much of a reaction there, at least from the looks of it. Oil India, the numbers not the strongest. Look at those, not too much of very heartening performance there. But keep in mind, the most notes that I read, which talk about now what the stock could do in FY24, etc., speak about how that while the profitability may be off, the dividend paying ability of the company is not, and it's available at about 8% dividend yield. So people who are chasing those yields might still come in for Oil India. And remember, that's what's happened. Whenever the oil prices went up to 120, 130, the stock did not reflect the fundamental performance at 130. I mean, it kept on getting priced lower per se relative to the discount, relative to what the value could have been or should have been when it's 120, because oil is also fickle and volatile. But 8% dividend yield steady. So I would suspect that even if All India were to correct, even if it were to correct, it'll probably find support at lower levels based on the notes that I've read. So bear that in mind. Aptech, seeing the solid performance. Revenue is up 175%, EBITDA margin 19.6, net profit up 30%. It put a bonus issue of 2 shares for every 5 shares held. So it's looking good for Aptech, this performance. Maybe the stock reacts to my mind, actually, this could well be one of the key stocks to monitor in the session today. Prudent Corporate Advisory Services, again, good set of numbers. Revenues up 176, slightly higher than Bloomberg estimated. Net profit much higher than the Bloomberg estimate number of 30 crores at 41 crores. And that's on account, again, of margins expanded 700 basis points from 26 to 33. I mean, ignore that marginal decimal number there. 700 basis points expansion in margin is no mean feat. So strong showing, could do well. Venus didn't have the luck of margin expansion, but the numbers were strong. 60% jump in revenue, 57% jump in EBITDA, net profit up 66%, line item by line item, strong growth. And as a result of which they've maintained the margins as well. I would call this a very strong quarter and very likely that the stock could do well today. TNPL, the revenues were not that great, but what performance beyond that? Revenues up 3.9%, but EBITDA 146%, EBITDA margin 19% versus 8%. 1100 basis points expansion in EBITDA margin. Net profit up 358%. So really strong show by TNPL, could do well. ZF Commercial, well, it's an expensive stock, so bear that in mind. But the numbers seem okay. Revenues up 24%, EBITDA up 61%, EBITDA margins expand 300 basis points or slightly more than that. Net profit up 78%. So really strong show by ZF Commercial, and very likely that the stock could see a positive outcome today. But keep in mind, it's not a cheap stock. It is an expensive stock. What didn't have a great number? Rupa. Very bad set of numbers. Revenues down 8%, EBITDA down 62%, margins collapsed 1,000 basis points. Net profit down 61% at 18.69 crores. Very, very big wobble. There's some marquee investors there. I believe still there. I don't know if they're still there or no. But the results are anything but good, and therefore an issue there. I think textile related names, of course, have issues. Trident too, the numbers were a bit of a wobble. Revenues down 15%, EBITDA down 20%, margin 17% versus 18%, net profit down 27%. So a bit of a wobble there for Trident as well. Adani Ports is a stock in focus. They have said that they will make a long-term investment of $10 billion in Vietnam, including a $3 billion investment in ports and wind and solar power projects. And this is a big show of confidence from the company's side, both on the geopolitical front as well as on the confidence around their balance sheet and their ability to invest. And therefore, the stock, never know, could see a reaction. Remember, now the Adani Group stocks have moved in tandem the last few days. Yesterday, all of them fell in unison. If that were to continue, then difficult for Adani Ports to probably do an outlier thing. But Adani Ports individually still possibly could do well, independent of what the group stocks do today. I think it's difficult to predict what they might do on a daily basis, to be honest. The momentum was there. I had thought that they would continue to use that momentum yesterday, and that prediction was wrong. Anyways, I shouldn't be in the business of predicting, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, this looks like a positive announcement. Now, the standard disclaimer, of course, that I want to put out here is that the Adani Group, the Adani Enterprises owns 49% stake in Quintillion Business Media, which is the owner of BQ Prime, which is the platform on which you're watching this trade set up. So please be mindful of that. Now, some stocks on which I would not have given graphics, but important to highlight. So HDFC Bank is in focus. So multiple brokerages have come out with their notes on HDFC Bank. Macquarie, for example, they have an outperform rating with the target price of 2110. Bernstein has a note, And most people are saying that the bank is confident of maintaining their return ratios. They're going to add large number of branches per annum, and they're promising growth as well. All of this leads brokerages to believe that HDFC Bank would be a key stock. In Macquarie's case, it is their top pick is HDFC Bank. So that is to be watched out for. Then some numbers that I may not have mentioned is one of them is Titagarh Wagons. Strong showing, a margin increase in a range of the long-term guidance account of better capacity utilization. Simple capacity utilization play for Titagarh Wagons. The sales were up about 27% QOQ and 103% YOY, doubling of sales from 481 to 974 crores nearly. So very strong showing there. Gross profit up, EBITDA margins at 9.8% versus 3.1% YOY. Extremely strong show. QOQ, the numbers were, at par. Q3 they did 9.5, Q4 they did 9.8. It's a seasonal business. Don't look at QOQ, but because they're in the range of moving up on their capacity utilization, so that's why I'm saying that QOQ also they've maintained, but YOY performance extremely strong show. Profit after tax of 48 crores versus a loss of 25 crores in Q4 and a profit of 33 crores in Q3. So 47% jump in QOQ profit, and of course net profit massively higher. So strong showing there from Titagarh Wagons side. I would suspect that the stock would do well. I'm sure I'm missing a few, so I'm just bringing those out. Cummins fell 5% yesterday. I have a Nomura note here which says that sales were largely in line. Gross margin was missed, but the lower other expenses and employee costs led to an EBITDA beat. And they are saying they are waiting further clarity on the conference call for why the company did not provide the guidance. But keep in mind, viewers, that Cummins has not provided guidance, said that they will not be able to provide guidance even in Q3. So this was not new news. So yes, the stock got badgered, I believe, on account of that, but it's not new news. So the analysts will look at the con call. You will get to hear the management today on BQ Prime as well. I would urge you to log into that conversation to try and take a longer term view on Cummins. It'll be interesting. Nomura is saying, of course, that they have a reduced rating, of course. The target price remains 1145 and the closing price is 1595. So they're not constructive on Cummins, but they were surprised by the sharp fall that came in on account of the guidance miss. So that's part one. Now, what else? Have I missed out on something? That's the point I'm trying to see. Yeah, we've spoken about Trident, which was a poor performance. Brigade was a very strong performance, and you get to hear the management as well. A great set of numbers, strong end to FY23. Nalco, of course, beat estimates, and that's something that I spoke about. And JB Chemicals was a bit of a wobble. And Borosil Renewables, viewers, very weak quarter. Net profit down 85%. Revenues down 65%, EBITDA down 76%, EBITDA margin at 11% versus 16%. So not a great show. Just that some experts who track Borosil Renewables closely tell me that a lot of these is expected because they brought a plant online because of which depreciation happened, but sales did not happen, and all of those will happen in Q1, Q2 onwards. So therefore, you will actually see a bit of a recovery in that. So you have to bear that in mind. Yesterday, another management was telling me the same thing, that they brought the plant online in Q4, as a result of which depreciation came, but sales did not, and therefore sales will start from Q1. I'm forgetting which management it was, but yesterday we did the conversation with that management, and therefore they are talking about how while Q4 was a bit of a miss, Q1 onwards things could improve. So bunch of companies where capacities are coming on stream are actually facing this kind of temporary issue. Now, I'm not saying Borosil is a temporary issue. I don't track the stock as closely, but people who track it are telling me that this could happen. I would still suspect that today the stock will get hammered on account of really a shabby set of numbers in Q4. But like I said, including a Brigade, including a Cummins, there are a bunch of conversations on BQ Prime today. So you might want to tune in for some of those. From the results, firstly, Satish Pai of Hindalco at 9, in conversation with my colleague Sajid. Garden Reach Ship Builders and Engineers, Commodore PR Hari, retired Commodore PR Hari would be joining. Mithun Chand of Kaveri Seeds at 11:45 on BQ. And the Maverick investor, Vijay Kedia of Kedia Securities. No, let's stick with the previous plate, please. Vijay Kedia of Kedia Securities, that's a big name when it comes to investing. He'll join in. I'm sure he'll have his usual set of quotes and poems and songs to talk about, but also a lot to learn from him about investing, because it's a big, bold investor who's made it big after having nothing. So I'm looking forward to that conversation myself. Then some other result conversations. Umesh Chaudhary of Titagarh Wagons at noon, Ashwath Ram of Cummins India at 1 p.m., Pavitra Shankar Brigade Enterprises at 12:30, and both Titagarh and Brigade have come out with some exceptional set of numbers, so it would be interesting to see that. And Dream Folks came out with numbers yesterday, but Libretha Peter Kalat would join in at 2 p.m. today to talk about such. It was a decent set of numbers that Dream Folks came out with, actually day before yesterday. But we wanted to talk to the management today at 2 p.m. And Sajid Mangat, my colleague, will be talking to them. So that'll be interesting to watch out for as well. So lots of conversations on BQ Prime today. I want to tune in for some of those. Thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup today. Have a great day ahead.